Good morning. It's a great day today for me. I hope it is the same for you. I was reading a story some time ago about a boy that was getting ready to graduate from high school. And he and his dad were great friends. And so one day he went and sat down on the armchair with his father and he said, "Hey Dad, I'm going to graduate here in a few weeks, and what I'd like to have you do is there a chance that we could go down and check out and help me find a second-rate used car that I can have as mine as I graduate?" And the father said, "Hey son, you know, I really have a lot of respect for you, and I'd like to do something even better. How about a new car?" And of course the boy's eyes lit up and he was so excited. And the father said, "Well, we'll think about it." Well, a few days later, the father came home from the office, and when he came home, he had a book. And he took the book to his son, and he said, "Remember, son, we talked about you getting a new car. Well, I got a book I want you to read before we decide about what car we'll buy, and so or what we can do on that particular issue. So I'd like you to read the book." Now, as you open the book, you'll discover it's a book that's different from other books because all the pages have been uncut. And what I want you to do, as you read the page, you uncut it. And when you uncut it, you read that page, and then you uncut the next page and you read it. And I don't want you to read ahead and cut the pages ahead. I want you to read page by page as you cut it. And the boy said, "Okay, Dad, I'll do it." And the father said, "Thanks, son, I really appreciate it." So the boy was given the book and he took it up to his room, and about 4 or 5 days later he said, "Hey Dad, what about the car?" And his dad said, "Hey son, how you doing on the book?" And the boy said, "Well, I've read a few pages." And the dad said, "Well, as you read the book, then we'll make some decisions about what we can do for the future." And so the boy went his way, and about a week later he came back and said, "Hey Dad, you know, graduation's next week, and you've always been very timely with me and very open with me, but what about this?" And the dad said, "How you doing on the book?" And the boy said, "Well, I've read a few more pages, but I still got a lot of book to read." And so the dad said, "Well, son, you read the book, and when you get the place, when you've read the book, then I think we might talk more about whether you can have a car." And so the graduation came, and the boy hadn't finished the book, and the father hadn't done anything for him. Well, a couple weeks went by, and the boy had been stewing inside of himself for a long time. And finally he went to his dad and said, "Hey Dad, I got a problem. I can't get over it. You aren't responding like you always have before." And the father said, "Hey son, I got a question for you. I gave you a book to read. How you doing on the book?" And the boy said, "Oh Dad, well, I'm about halfway through." And the dad said, "Well son, you go back and read the book as you promised me, and then we'll talk about what we'll do about the car." Well, it ended up going on for several more weeks, and it was only about 3 weeks before he was supposed to go away to college, and he still didn't have a car. And he came to his dad and he said, "Hey Dad, I'm really tired of all this." And his dad said, "How far are you in the book?" He said, "Well, I'm about maybe 85% through the book." And so his dad said to his son, "Hey Dad, or son, you go get the book and bring it down here." So the boy went and brought the book to his dad, and his dad took out his penknife and he started slicing the pages. And as he slit the pages going through the book to about the next or the last page or the next to the last page, as he slit the page, a piece of paper fluttered out from inside the book and it fell on the floor. And the boy went over and grabbed it and picked it up and looked at it, and it was a bill of sale for a brand new car that had been sitting in the dealer's shop since the day that he was given the book. And he was so chagrined that he took the bill of sale and he tore it up and threw it in the fire. And he said, "I'm not worthy of the car, Dad." And his dad said, "Oh no, son, I think you've learned your lesson." And so they went down and they bought the car. And the reason that he didn't get the car was because he hadn't cut the pages. And so it is with us when we live life. There are a lot of pages we need to cut. And if we don't cut them, the opportunities won't come for us. I know a lot of my friends in the prison have had lots of opportunities, but they won't cut the page. There's an opportunity to have education for you and for them, and they don't cut the page. There's an opportunity to have a relationship that can be meaningful, but they won't cut the page. We have the opportunity to have a relationship with our Maker, but we won't cut the page. We just want to go on and get what we want the way we want it. But somehow, if we're ever going to get what life has to offer us, we got to be willing to cut the pages of life so that life can give us what it has promised us. Have a great day. How many?